The women that men go absolutely crazy about are usually not the most beautiful women they've ever met. Think about that for a second. Because every man you know has at some point been completely obsessed with a woman who wasn't even close to the most attractive person he'd ever seen. And every man you know has also at some point met a woman who was stunning, who was smart, who had everything going for her, and he just felt nothing deep. He liked her. Maybe he dated her for a bit, but he wasn't crazy about her. He wasn't lying awake at night thinking about her. He wasn't canceling plans with his friends just to spend more time with her. And if you've ever been the woman that a man was politely interested in but not completely gone for, you know exactly how that feels. And it doesn't feel good because you did everything right. You looked good. You were fun. You were interesting. You were kind. And still something was missing. Still something didn't click for him the way you wanted it to. And what I want to tell you today is that what was missing had nothing to do with how you looked or how interesting you were or how good your life seemed on paper. What was missing were three very specific things that most women never do, not because they can't, but because nobody ever told them. And these three things, when a woman does them, hit a man so deep that he starts to feel something he can't put into words. He just knows he wants to be around her. He just knows she feels different from every other woman he's talked to. He just knows he doesn't want to lose her. And today, I'm going to tell you exactly what these three things are, why they work on men the way they do, how to actually do them without it feeling weird or fake, and how to tell when they're already working on him. So stay with me because this one matters. But before I get into it, real quick, if this video is already making you think, go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Turn on the bell so you catch every new video. And drop a comment right now telling me what city and country you're watching from. And tell me honestly, have you ever felt like you did everything right with a guy and it still wasn't enough? I really want to know. It helps me understand what you're going through so I can make videos that actually help you. All right, let's get into it. Here's what most women get completely wrong about attraction. They think attraction is about what you show a man, your looks, your personality, your life, your achievements. And yes, those things get his attention at the start. But attention is not the same as being crazy about someone. Attention is easy. Any woman can get a man's attention. But getting under his skin, making him feel something so specific and so deep that he can't stop thinking about you, that's something completely different. And that comes not from what you show him, but from how you make him feel when he's with you. See, men fall for women the same way women fall for men, through feeling. Not through logic, not through a checklist, through a feeling that happens in their body when they're around a certain person. And the three things I'm going to share with you today create that feeling in him. They create it in a way that's so natural and so real that he doesn't even know it's happening. He just feels it. And once he starts feeling it, he's done. He's gone. He's thinking about you. So let's talk about the first one. The first thing is something I call leaving the door open. And I know that sounds simple, maybe even too simple, but stay with me because this is one of the most powerful things a woman can do, and almost no woman does it the right way. Here's what I mean. Most women, when they like a man, either go all in and make it very obvious, very fast, or they play it cool and give him almost nothing to work with. And both of those approaches miss something really important. Going all in too fast makes a man feel like the chase is already over before it started. And playing it completely cool makes a man feel like there's no point in even trying. But leaving the door open is different. It's somewhere in the middle. It's the way you look at him for just a half second longer than you need to. It's the way you laugh at something he says and then hold his eye contact for just a moment before you look away. It's the way you say something warm and genuine to him and then go back to enjoying your own evening without hovering or waiting for his reaction. It's giving him just enough to feel something and then stepping back and letting him sit with it. And what this does to a man is remarkable because now his brain starts working. Now he's curious. Now he's asking himself, does she like me? Is there something there? Should I do something about this? And a man who is curious about a woman is a man who is already thinking about her. You've already taken up space in his head without saying very much at all. The mistake most women make is they think they need to hold back completely, or they think they need to be fully available, but neither of those creates that pull. What creates the pull is that warm, open, relaxed energy that says, I like being around you, but I'm not desperate for your approval. And a man feels that. He feels it instantly. He can't explain it, but he feels it. And it draws him towards you like nothing else can. Now, here's the second thing. And this one is going to sound even simpler than the first one. But I promise you it's anything but simple in how it actually affects a man. The second thing is paying attention to what he actually says. Not just nodding and smiling, actually listening, actually remembering, actually following up. And I know you might be thinking, of course I listen. Everyone listens. But here's the reality. Most people in conversations are not actually listening. They're waiting to talk. They're thinking about what they're going to say next. They're thinking about how they're coming across. They're half listening while also checking if he seems interested in them. And a man can feel when he's being truly heard versus when someone is just waiting for their turn to speak. He can feel the difference even if he can't put it into words. And when a woman actually listens to him, when she asks him a question about something he mentioned 20 minutes ago, when she brings up something he said last week, when she looks at him like what he's saying actually matters to her, something happens in him that is really hard to describe. He feels seen. And most men go through most of their lives not feeling truly seen by the people around them. They have friends, they have family, but most men carry a version of themselves that they never fully show anyone because they don't feel like anyone is really paying attention. And when a woman shows up and she's genuinely interested in who he is, not just what he looks like or what he does for work or how much money he makes, but actually who he is, what he thinks about, what he cares about, what makes him laugh, what keeps him up at night, that woman becomes something really special to him. She becomes the person he wants to talk to. She becomes the person he opens up to. And a man who opens up to a woman is a man who is already emotionally attached to her. Because men don't open up easily. It doesn't come naturally to most of us. We're not wired to just pour our hearts out to people. But when we find someone who makes us feel safe enough to do that, we hold on to that person. We don't let that go easily. So when you're with a man, you put your phone down, look at him, ask him real questions. Not interview questions, not small talk questions, but real questions about what he actually thinks and feels. And then actually listen to the answer. Don't just wait for him to finish so you can talk about yourself. Be curious about him and watch what happens. Watch how he starts to lean in. Watch how he starts to share more. Watch how after that conversation, he texts you later that night because something about talking to you felt different from talking to everyone else he knows. Now, here is the part where most women make a mistake with this. They start listening really well and then they overdo it. They become so focused on him that they forget to bring themselves to the conversation. And that tips over into something that feels less like genuine interest and more like trying too hard. The balance is this. You listen deeply and you respond genuinely and then you share something about yourself too. You make it a real exchange. Not an interview where you're asking all the questions, not a performance where you're talking about yourself the whole time. A real back and forth where both people are showing up and both people feel the other one actually cares. That's the sweet spot. And when you find that sweet spot with a man, he walks away from that conversation feeling something he rarely feels. He feels good about himself and good about you at the same time. And that combination is addictive for a man. He's going to want more of it. All right. Let's talk about the third one. And this one is the one that most women find the hardest to do. Not because it's complicated, but because it goes against everything we've been taught about how to get someone to like you. The third thing is being genuinely happy in your own life separate from. And I don't mean pretending to be happy. I don't mean performing happiness to seem more attractive. I mean actually having a life that you enjoy. Actually having things that excite you and make you feel good that have nothing to do with whether he texts you back or not. Because here is something that every man knows, even if he never says it out loud. When a woman's mood is completely controlled by what he does or doesn't do, it feels like pressure. It feels like responsibility. It feels like weight. And a man doesn't want to feel like he's responsible for someone else's entire emotional state. Not because men are selfish, but because it's just a lot. It's a lot for anyone to carry. But when a woman has her own happiness, her own things going on, her own reasons to feel good about her life, she becomes something completely different to a man. She becomes something he wants to be a part of because her life looks good. Her life feels good to be around. And he's not walking into a situation where he's responsible for making her feel okay. He's walking into a situation where two people who are already fine on their own are choosing to enjoy each other's company. And that is so much more attractive than the alternative. Think about it from your own experience. Have you ever been around someone who needed your constant attention to feel okay? Who got anxious if you didn't reply fast enough? Who seemed like they didn't have much going on outside of talking to you? It probably felt like a lot. It probably made you want to pull back a little, even if you genuinely liked the person. That's exactly what men feel when a woman makes him her whole world too fast. It doesn't make him feel special. It actually makes him feel trapped. But when a woman has her own full life, her own friendships, her own passions, her own goals, her own moments of genuine joy that she's not getting from him, she becomes fascinating to him. He starts to wonder what she's doing when she's not with him. He starts to want to be the person she chooses to spend time with instead of just the person who fills her empty space. And that shift in dynamic changes everything. He starts to pursue. He starts to put in effort. He starts to show up in ways he wasn't showing up before. Because now he feels like he has to earn her time, and that makes her time feel valuable to him. And here's the thing I really want you to hear about this. Because I know some women hear this and they think, okay, so I have to pretend I don't care. I have to act like I'm busy even when I'm not. I have to play games. And that is not at all what I'm saying. Playing games is exhausting and it doesn't work long term and it attracts the wrong kind of man anyway. What I'm talking about is not performing independence. I'm talking about actually having it. Actually building a life that feels good to you. Actually investing in yourself and your friendships and your goals and your happiness. Not so that you seem more attractive to men, but because you deserve a good life. Because your happiness matters. Because you are a full and complete person who doesn't need a man to feel whole. And when you actually live that way, when you actually feel that way, men feel it coming off you. They feel the difference between a woman who is genuinely happy and a woman who is performing happiness. And the genuine version is the one that pulls them in hard. Now, let me tell you something about how all three of these things work together. Because when you combine them, when you leave the door open in that warm and subtle way, and you listen to him in a way that makes him feel truly seen, and you bring your own full and happy life to the table, what you've created is something incredibly rare. You've created a woman who is both warm and independent, both interested and not desperate, both present and self-sufficient. And that combination is something most men have never actually experienced before. Most men have met women who were warm but clingy, or independent but cold, or interested but overwhelming. But warm and independent together, present but self-sufficient, that is the combination that makes a man feel something he's never quite felt before. And when a man feels something he's never felt before, he pays attention. He wants to understand it. He wants more of it. And that's when you stop being just a woman he's dating and start being a woman he can't imagine not having in his life. Now, I want to talk about something that some of you might be feeling right now as you watch this. Because I know some women hear this kind of advice and they think, this sounds like I have to do all the work. Like, I have to be perfect, have my life together, listen perfectly, do everything right, and then maybe he'll decide to be crazy about me. And if that's what you're feeling right now, I understand it. And I want to be honest with you about it. These three things are not about being perfect. They're not about performing some flawless version of yourself so a man picks you. That's not what this is. What this is about is showing up as the most real and most grounded version of who you already are. The woman who leaves the door open in a warm and genuine way, that's not a performance. That's a woman who's comfortable enough with herself that she doesn't need to hide her interest or throw it all at him at once. The woman who listens deeply, that's not a technique. That's a woman who is genuinely curious about people and makes them feel valued. The woman who has her own happy life, that's not a strategy. That's a woman who is invested in herself and knows her own worth. And the beautiful thing is, when you develop these things for real, they stop being things you do to attract men and start being things you just are. And that changes everything about how men experience you. And here's something else I want to say, because I think it's really important. Not every man is going to respond to this the way you want. Not every man is ready for something real. Some men are so used to chasing things that feel unstable and dramatic that a woman who is calm and genuine and grounded actually makes them uncomfortable. And those men will pull away. And if a man pulls away from you because you showed up real and warm and self-assured, let him go. Because that man was never going to give you what you actually want. The men who are ready, the men who are emotionally mature enough to want something real, those are the men who are going to feel everything I described today and move closer to you. So in a way, these three things are not just about attracting a man. They're about filtering. They're about making sure the man who gets close to you is the man who actually deserves to be there. Let me also say this about the women who feel like they've tried to be warm and genuine before and it still didn't work. If you've done all of this and a specific man still didn't choose you, that is not proof that you weren't enough. That is proof that he wasn't the right one. Because the right man, when he encounters a woman who is warm and present and real and happy in her own life, does not walk away from that. He leans into it. He chases it. He fights for it. So if a man saw all of that in you and still walked away, he was not your person. And I know that's hard to hear when you're in the middle of the pain of it, but it's the truth. And the truth is more useful to you than a comfortable lie. Now, let me give you the signs to look for that tell you these things are working on. Because when a man starts to feel this pull, his behavior changes in ways that are pretty clear if you know what to look for. He starts reaching out first. Not every once in a while, consistently. He texts first. He calls first. He makes plans first. He stops waiting to see if you'll come to him and starts coming to you. He also starts remembering things. He brings up something you mentioned in passing weeks ago. He asks follow-up questions about things you told him before. He pays attention to your life in a way that shows he's actually been thinking about you when you're not together. And his body language changes when you're in the same room. He finds reasons to be near you. He faces you when you talk. He smiles without realizing he's smiling. He's more relaxed and more himself around you than he is around other people. And one of the biggest signs is that he starts opening up to you. He tells you things he doesn't normally tell people. He shares things that are actually real and honest about himself. Not because you pushed him to, but because something about being around you makes him feel like it's safe to do that. And when a man starts doing that with you, you need to know that that is not something he does with everyone. That is something he does with the people who feel different to him, the people who feel special. And at that point, you're not just a woman he likes, you're a woman he trusts. And a man who trusts a woman is a man who is already halfway in love with her. So here's what I want you to actually take away from this today. Stop trying to be more impressive. Stop trying to figure out what kind of woman he wants and then become that. Stop performing and start showing up. Leave the door open in that warm, natural way. Actually listen to him in a way that makes him feel seen. And build and maintain a life that you genuinely love separate from him. These three things done together create something that almost no other woman is offering. And in a world full of women who are performing and chasing and playing games, a woman who is just real and warm and has her own thing going on is the rarest thing a man can find. And rare is what a man holds on to. Rare is what a man is scared to lose. Rare is what a man will move mountains to keep in his life. Drop a comment right now and say, I'm showing up real if you're committing to taking this seriously. And tell me which one of the three felt most like something you needed to hear today. Was it leaving the door open, truly listening, or building your own happiness? I really want to know. If this video helped you see something differently, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell so you get more content like this every week. We are building something real here. A community of women who want to grow from a place of honesty and not from a place of tricks and